What's up, everybody? I'm Scott.
I'm Jason.
And this is Liquid Carnage heading into the Labor Day weekend.
I know. I can't believe, man, Labor Day already. Gosh, it's crazy going fast.
God, where's the summer gone? It feels like we were just praying for warmer weather and pool time. And then clearly we bitched about the heat because Tom noted every week there for about a month and a half that we can't talk about the heat anymore. And now here we are knocking on September's door.
I know. Well, and you know what September brings? Right, Scott?
September brings football. Sorry.
That's right, baby. Sorry,
I
thought you were waiting.
You dropped off right there. I was about ready to start cussing. That's my bad.
No,
you are absolutely right. Fall is in the air. Football is upon us. We had our fantasy league drafts over the weekend. So I am getting ready, man. I am pumped.
Oh, yeah. I always tell myself every year, you know what? I'm probably going to just, avoid as much football as we can. I just don't want to waste all my Sundays watching football.
Fuck that, man. I'll be at Chili's every Sunday. Yeah,
hey, Jason, you got a draft coming up on the Sunday. Oh, okay, I'll do the draft. I drafted my teams like, oh, come on, football. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, yes, Frankie's very excited for it, too, as you can tell.
I can.
Big-time Cardinal fan, even though he doesn't like the pictures. I play in multiple leagues, and I try very hard every year to draft as close to the same team as possible because I do my research. I do my research, and I draft the guys I believe in, and I prepare for the situations of if I can't pick up those guys. Okay. So before we get on to today's topic, and before some of our listeners start checking out thinking we're talking about football or fantasy football, this anecdote transcends that, and really – by the end of it, you'll understand, that really is something I would do. And I truly deserve what I got here. So I play in an auction league. And for those that don't know, an auction league in fantasy football is instead of doing a snake draft, like Jason goes first, I go second, then we go through the other 8 guys, then it goes back around, then I'm 9th and Jason's 10th. We take turns throwing out players with starting bids, and we have a salary cap. So we have to fit our entire team under the salary cap. So my partner and I have always drafted very well and very economically with this draft, and we've been doing it for 15 years now. So it's probably one of the older leagues in King because they still have a quote unquote rule book they have to abide by.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, it's archaic, and our commissioner knows how I feel about it, and I was very blunt about that too. I think it's archaic, but as the draft goes on, everybody always spends big money on the good players early on, and we've always concentrated on finding value in the middle ground. That's not overspending if we can. I'm very good at trying to get people to bid up and overbid on certain players. And usually by about the time the draft starts about 11 o'clock in the morning, about 3 o'clock, everyone's down to $4 and $5. And they have to fill out 4 and 5 roster spots. If there's a player that I know they like and I kind of want, I'll automatically start the bid at $4 or $5 just to make sure they can't bid on them. And I had done that for years.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's a smart strategy. It really is. If you know that it's someone to try to pair a quarterback or wide receiver combo, they're trying to do something like that. You can basically put them out of the game real quick. Well, my partner and I have always finished with maybe $5 or $6 at the end of the thing, so we never spent all of our money. Yesterday. And we were always the first ones to be done. We were always the first ones to finish our draft and be out the door. Yesterday, my partner couldn't be there, so I was drafting for both of us on my own. And I got down to my very last position. It's called our IR spot. It's like a bench player that you get penalized if you use.
Oh.
So it can be whoever you want, whatever you want. So you can only have two quarterbacks on your roster, but you could draft a third one and put him in your IR. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So I got down to my last spot, which was my IR. And I had $3 left. And it was right at the end of one of the last rounds. They did a money check, and everybody knew I had $3 and one spot to fill. And they took turns starting players at $3. And we drew the card. We picked very second to last out of 14 teams. So we were picking 13th. So for the first 5 or 6 picks, and I appreciate this. I really do, because I've done it to all these guys for a lot of years. They started every bid at $3, and they bought some shitty players for more than they should have. But they made sure I couldn't do anything for a while. And I respect that.
Who is your IR player?
I ended up getting Jared Cook for $1. So it was actually a very good buy.
Whoa. The tight end for New Orleans?
Yeah.
Oh, Scott.
Yeah, that's actually very. But there's no tight ends in this league, so he has to start as a wide receiver.
Oh, okay.
So but even in that system, the Jared Cook in that New Orleans offense is still a good pickup, no matter what the price.
Oh yeah.
So they all thought it was great. I do appreciate a good joke, and they hosed me pretty good on that. And I got a note from our commissioner last night asking if I could mention this on the show, so I told him I would. So Dan, there you go. You guys got me good. It'll never happen again, I promise. And watch out, because I'm coming for you next year.
That's right. This is my second year, but Noreen's work does a fantasy league, and last year was our inaugural year doing the league with them. So we actually now have a couple. I mean, we have I have our normal league, and then I have a league with Noreen now. So it's always fun to do the draft with her because she really tries. Have you ever been around someone who really tries to show like they're really excited and they want to know and they, okay, yeah, and they get all excited and that deep down they really don't know shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is. But when the person is your girlfriend, you can't really make fun of them.
No.
So you've got to kind of, that's a good pick, hon.
Yeah.
Well, hey, do you think we should draft our kicker in the second round?
Ooh, that's called pulling a Tom. That's called pulling an EP.
That's a good strategy, hon. But maybe we should look at getting a running back like Saquon Barkley.
He seems like a good player.
I can't even pronounce that guy's name. Saquon? Yep, hon. Close enough, babe. Close enough.
Yeah, we're our IT department asked our friend Ben and I to play in their league. They're starting up this week, so we draft this week for that. And watching some of the back and forth, this is the first time for a lot of them, so it's going to be an interesting draft.
Well, as long as Champ Killer's in there, you should be fine.
Oh yeah, Hefe's in there. We're actually drafting at Hefe's house, so I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good time.
Is it a live draft or a flat draft? I mean, online.
It's an online draft. We're all going to go over to Jeff's house. He has the bandwidth to support us all. He's an IT and whatnot.
He's an IT. He knows what's going on. What's going on.
So, are you playing fantasy football this year? If you are, who is your top pick? Hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, all at Liquid Carnage. If you want to discuss how poor of a team Tom drafted, because he did draft a poor team, hit him up on Twitter and Instagram at liquid_EP. Now on with the show.
I think that my Sunday had one or two highlights, really. The first was my draft. I was going to do a draft with my buddies named Scott Kern and family.
Yes.
So that was the highlight of my Sunday.
Yes.
But the second highlight of my Sunday was binge watching Mindhunter season 2.
Okay. I've never actually watched Mindhunters.
Okay. So we've had shows about binge watching, so I won't really get into how ridiculous it was for me to waste an entire Sunday doing nothing but watching Mindhunter on Netflix. Mm-hmm. But what I was really just fascinated about was how much our culture loves true crime, psychological killers, serial killers, how we obsess with listening to true crime podcasts and watching true crime on TV. And like I said, I lost a whole day watching a fictional show about serial killers.
It's scary shit. Well, the fact that it's happened that people obsess over it.
Well, and I mean, I think that it's like reality TV in a sense. You ever watch Maury Povich or Jerry Springer?
Only whenever I've got the flu and I'm home for the day.
But you're watching it because you're just fascinated about how other people could possibly think that this is normal behavior.
Yeah.
Now, so my first thought was, I think I'm fascinated because I want to know why what I would consider to be a normal person would commit such horrible acts against multiple people.
That's fair.
Now, have you ever wondered why the psyche of someone, or, wondered about the psyche and why people do what they do when it comes to serial killers?
I wonder about the psyche of people when they do just what they do in general.
Explain.
You look at what some people do, and it makes you go, "Did you really have to, or why did you do that?" I question people's motives all the time. It's a natural perk of being, what's the word I'm looking for here?
A person watcher?
Well, I am a people watcher, but
or people watcher.
Yeah, I'm a people watcher, and I forget the word I'm trying to think of right now. But I'm leery of everyone and everything. It's just the way I am. It's 2019. I feel like everyone's always got an angle. So, I'm always leery. I'm always watching. I'm always looking for tells.
Now, when you watch a person, do you watch them after they've committed some sort of bad habit, or do you just watch them in general? Like, hey, nice to meet you, and then start watching them?
Right. Usually it's just right away. If
Okay.
I'm having a conversation with somebody or somebody I'm meeting for the first time, I'm just trying to figure out tells, just what their personality is, how they use their body language. It's something I learned in my degree, which is human communication from Arizona State University, a program that my brother claims he learned in 5 minutes in the third grade.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Do tell.
No, but that's pretty much what it is.
Oh, our EP is so funny.
Yeah. But
he's so smart in so many different ways, but can't draft a football team to save his life.
No, that kicker in the third round, though, that's a great pickup.
Oh, heck yeah.
Any rate, enough of the digs on that. I'm sure we'll get a note on that. No, I think people are obsessed with true crime because, one, we are just fascinated by what some people will do and what extremes the human psyche will go to, and two, how twisted it really is. And then I think three, I think we've become desensitized to it, a lot of it too, because of the movies and books and storytelling these days.
Well, I thought about that we just become desensitized to it. And it's almost become like glorified. Like, the Natural Born Killers movie was kind of glorified as this wild and crazy thing, or, Silence of the Lambs, those kind of movies back in the 90s kind of glorified this image. But now there's such an in-depth analysis with all the news stories you can get off the internet, and with all the research that you can do. You can find out so much more than just the matter of fact, this person pulled the child into a car and they disappeared, and then the child, the statement of facts is so much more clear now with the research that can be done, not only of the case, but the psychological aspects of what drove the person.
Yeah, and I'm really not surprised that we've seen such an uptick in people obsessing over this kind of particular field of entertainment, because with the internet and all that information at your fingertips, you're going to research this. You're going to hear about a gruesome murder in Milwaukee, say Jeffrey Dahmer. And the early 90s, when that happened, all you could do is watch the national news and hope you get some snippets on it. Maybe if you have a cousin or someone back there they can call and ask and see what the news is over there, they might be able to tell you. But that's all you're going to get. Now, if that happened in 2019 instead of 1991, we could go on to Milwaukee Sentinel Journal, whatever the paper is over there, and read all about it. We could find it on Facebook. You could find everything at your fingertips, every gory detail. And I think this serial killer obsession is truly here because of the amount of information at our fingertips with the internet.
I think that we all have a curiosity of what we consider normal behavior is not everyone's consideration of normal behavior. And so when something like this happens, I think it's only naturally curious of us to watch and say, wow, I would never do something like that, but could I?
Yeah,
I think could I do something like that? Like, this person seemed like Ted Bundy seemed like a pretty normal person. He was functional. He was highly intelligent. So he was charismatic, and he was really high up in the Republican Party in Washington, and he was going to law school, and so obviously very high functioning, and he had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have a girlfriend. I'm not an attorney, but I'm a pretty smart guy. I got a girlfriend. I'm a normal person. Could I do something like that?
Yeah, but he was a sociopath for a long time. You wonder what triggered that with him.
Yes. Yeah.
But again, that's where the documentaries come in. That's where, I think this Ted Bundy documentary on Netflix, I think the Mindhunters on Netflix is just the tip of the iceberg to go with all the podcasts that are out there. I think over the next few years, we're going to see a lot more in-depth documentaries on, Ed Gein. For those who don't know who Ed Gein was, Ed Gein is who they based the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface off of. Not because that's how he did it, but it's because he would kill people and turn their skin into clothes and furniture.
last night we were watching TV, and just to kind of expound on what you said, though, Scott, there are channels that's all they do.
Oh yeah, my ex used to watch the ID channel.
Yeah, that's all they do is all day long. They do those kind of shows. If you ever watch Headline News all night long does nothing but forensic files all night long. There was a show. They did we were watching the TV last night, and they were talking about Susan Smith. I'm not sure if you remember that case, but it was the woman in South Carolina who called the police saying that her 2 children were in the back of their car that got hijacked by a black person. And when they finally finished all the research, it turned out that she drove a car into a lake and killed the kids.
Oh, I do remember that one. Yeah.
And it was that was 25 years ago that case happened, right? And the whole, when they were showing the clip when the sheriff actually said, "Hey, we've arrested the mother for killing the 2 kids," you could hear an audible gasp from the audience that was listening to this press conference. Like, they were so shocked that a mother would do that. And maybe part of our desensitization is that we aren't so shocked anymore. Like, when someone commits a crime, our first thought is always, "Oh, the boyfriend did it. Oh, the husband did it. Must have been the husband." You know what I mean? Like, we're not even shocked anymore that, well, they were, a happily married couple. How could he possibly do something like that?
Yeah. And that's true. You never know what goes on behind closed doors, but with the influx of information that we get through the ID channel, and I used to always make fun of my ex for this because she worked from home, so she'd have it on all day while she was working, and it's like today at noon, it's brunch with a serial killer, or the afternoon movie is cocktail hours with murderers and things like that, because that's all they ever show. Yeah. And it puts all these different ideas into people's heads too, and I think that's the next problem, is that everyone's glorifying it and putting it on TV and telling these stories. They're kind of giving people playbooks on how to and how not to do things too, if they really wanted to pursue something like that.
I do have to wonder, though, if the days of a serial killer are going to be few and farther between because of all the technology and all the, you know what I mean? Like, with all the technology and all the science that's out there now and all the video cameras, if someone like that could get away.
Yeah, I wonder that myself. And I want to say no, but then again, we live in a world where someone created the show Dexter, and that show, he's a serial killer, and he worked all around that stuff.
Yeah.
And as we get more technology, as we get more advanced as a civilization, I think that people are going to find more ways to be destructive than, and it's going to continue in one way, shape, or form.
Now, one thing I don't like being conspiracy theory, and this.
Yeah, that's true.
But I have to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the victims of a serial killer determines whether they get caught or not right away?
I don't think that's a conspiracy theory, but I think it's a good question. I think it depends. I think it depends on who their early victims are, and how it was done, and how much evidence they left. It's
like, there was recently that serial killer who got caught, who they think now he might have killed like 70 women, but they were all low income prostitutes, drug users, and no one really ever, pursued the case as adequately as it probably should have.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if you make it look like all individual random acts of low income people, then yeah, you could probably get away with that for a long time. In this case, 70 people's worth. That doesn't make it right. But...
Now, that's over 30 years, but still, I mean, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's average over 2 a year.
And then you think that person for 30 years has been in a community, walking around, talking with people in a community, and no one knew or no one asked the questions or anything.
Yeah, and I think if those type of shows and the true crime era has taught us anything, it's you can never be so sure who your neighbors are.
Yeah. Except me. I mean,
except you.
I don't murder anybody.
No.
And Noreen and I have a pact that we can't murder each other because we just break up if we don't want to be with each other.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair. So I'll give you that.
To talk about what a nerd I am about this, there's a podcast out there called True Crime, or no, sorry, Crime Junkie. I'm not sure if you've heard about it, but Crime Junkie is a very popular podcast on true crimes, missing people, murder, serial killers. She goes over a bunch of them. But part of her allure is that she is very, very, very in depth on the research that she does. I mean, I don't know. I got to be honest. She gets like police photos. She gets recordings from the 911 tapes. I don't know how she does it, but she's very in depth. Well, they've become such a big popular sensation that they're now on a tour where they'll go and record a podcast in an auditorium where people can watch and listen and enjoy the podcast while they're doing it. Noreen and I are going to go see them in September.
Are they doing like a Desert Ridge down in Phoenix, or?
I don't remember where they're at, but yes, they're doing it in an auditorium, I think.
Yeah, Tom sent me something like that about his might have been about a sports true crime or something like that. I'm sure he'll make a note about it, but he's either gone or he's going to something very similar to that.
Yeah, and so that's how much it's a new kind of entertainment, but it's true life, true crime. It's just I don't know. I'm fascinated by it. Like I said, I gave up 8 hours of a Sunday watching these, and I couldn't stop. I just could not stop. I was so enthralled.
You know, we all have our vices. We all binge watch random things, so I can't hold that against you.
Thank you.
I watched The Boys on Amazon Prime in about 2 days over 2 4-hour periods, so I get it completely.
I don't think I have the mental capacity either to do that on a full-time basis. You know, like these profilers that are out there, that's all they do is focus on how, you know, the mental mind works and how these serial killers work. I've always found it fascinating that they can create a profile. Oh, this person is this and this and this and this and this. And then it turns out once they catch the person, yep, that's exactly who he was.
Well, you know, you stare at something long enough, man, it affects you completely. But if you stare at the clues for months on end, you will eventually, get that good with it. But man, that alienates so many other aspects of your life too. It absorbs you, you know.
Yeah. Like I think the one that I've always found is there anyone that like stands out at you, like that you say, "Ooh, I would have loved to have interviewed or talked to that guy"?
I would have, like I mentioned him earlier. Ed Gein was very interesting to me. His story, maybe Richard Ramirez.
Oh, yeah, I know him. Yeah.
You know, it's like I don't want to say the classics, the Menendez brothers. I'm not sure they weren't considered serial killers, but
the psychological
aspect of why they did what they did, and was it just a moment and lapse of judgment, or are they really that psychotic? How do they present themselves? You know, I have all those questions.
Yeah. I have those questions too. And sometimes I wonder, do I really want to add, how deep do I want to go? You know, how deep do I want to go?
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm right there with you.
There's that great line from the movie. It's, you know, when you dig up the past, all you get is dirty.
Yeah. And I'm going to leave this conversation with our number one rule in life. Just because you can does not mean you should.
And 50 no's and a yes is still a yes.
It's still a yes.
That's right.
Rules number 1 and 2 of life, baby.
That's right.
Right there. I learned those from Jason Edgeworth.
That's right.
After all these years.
That's right.
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. It's right. 50 no's and a yes is still a yes. Hey.
So are you listening to True Crime Podcasts? Are you watching the shows? Let us know. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. If you want to talk about Tom's obsession with Swear Trek, and I'm sure he's watching some of those shows too, talk to him about it at liquid_EP on Twitter and Instagram.
Wow, see, you're so much better than I am doing that. So I'm never going to do that again.
No, you know, I think you have to do it every so often to keep getting better at it.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think for you, it's because we're coming up on our annual reviews pretty quick. You're only a few months away.
Oh gosh, that's right.
I think for you, it's a good way to step up your game and really transition. Because what if I have laryngitis one time?
Oh, and I had it once. Remember that one time I had it? Yeah.
I mean, these things happen. We have to, when shit happens, we have to be prepared.
I know, and I want to be there too.
I get it. So, you know, good topics of conversation today. You know, it's I'm very intrigued with this Mindhunter. So once I get back from vacation, I do have some downtime at home before I go back to work. So maybe I might check that out for a day.
Yeah, I think you'll like it because of its attachment to the truth of like the history. That like all the characters that they interview are real serial killers or real killers.
Yes.
Now the characters themselves who are from the FBI may not be true characters, but it's pretty fascinating.
So the crimes are the true crimes, but the characters are made up to protect the innocent.
Yes.
All right. So it's Law and Order. I get it.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah.
I got you. That's all you had to say. It's Law and Order, but for serial killers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it, Jason. Why don't you go ahead and take us home?
All right. Well, hey, everyone, happy. Hope you guys have a wonderful Labor Day and get ready for a nice fall and winter time. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some liquid courage.